Hi there, it's Cold Warrior, and I'm here giving a short talk on what you can do to save your country. So if you really want to do something to save your country, you've got to organize and unite politically where you live with other conservatives. So where's the best place to do that? To organize and unite politically for real political action that can change the outcome of elections. Well, not surprisingly, the best place to do that is in a political party. That doesn't mean just being registered to vote, but it means actually becoming a voting member of the party. I'm going to tell you how to do that. It's not hard. So let's define political activism. A fellow precinct committeeman here in Arizona that I know, David Fitzgerald, has this definition for political activist. He says, you're not really a political activist unless you've actually gathered a signature for someone or something to achieve ballot status in the latest election, for candidates or for ballot initiatives. And this is how I see things right now amongst most conservatives who are trying to do something. They're twittering, they're on Facebook, they're blogging at Hot Air or Red State or Breitbart, and there's Tea Partiers who have conservative blogs, there's other conservative blogs. Fox News reports the news, and all the talk show hosts report on issues and discuss issues ad nauseum. And it's almost as if there's this invisible wall of separation between all of them who want to do something and where they could really do something, and that's their respective local Republican Party committees. And we've got the numbers right now to take over the Republican Party conservatives. Our party has about 400,000 precinct committeeman slots. 200,000 of these, or thereabouts, are empty, vacant. Do the math. If we filled up just half of those 200,000 PC slots, if we just had 100,000 conservatives nationwide getting involved in the party, we'd own it, because PCs elect all the officers of the party and do many other things. So it's not hard to become a precinct committeeman. So think back, all those mailers you get from the party, have they ever explained this to you? Have they ever explained how to become a precinct committeeman, or that they want you to become one? They want your money, they want your time, they want you to fill out surveys, but they don't want you to make the party more conservative. And there's only one way to do that, to get inside it. So here's an example of a party, my party here in Arizona. To be a precinct committeeman, there are no party dues. You can be appointed to a vacancy if there's one in your precinct, and likely there is. And then every 2 years, in the even-numbered years, you have to run for precinct committeeman. And you only have to get 10 signatures or fewer. Depends on how many registered Republicans are on your precinct. And then you run. And usually you're going to run unopposed. Now, your local party committee will help you with all of this, and each state has unique requirements. None of them are onerous. So here's a simple diagram. It's a precinct which has physical boundaries, and you live in one, whether you know it or not. I live in Arizona. Arizona's got 15 counties. 30 legislative districts exist in the state. They elect the state legislature. The counties and the legislative districts, they have Republican Party committees, and those are made up of precinct committeemen. Now, in Maricopa County, and this is typical, I think, across America, 724 precincts exist within the boundaries, but 40% of them have not even one Republican precinct committeeman. And again, Maricopa County being typical, about 50% of the allotted Republican precinct committeeman slots are filled. That's way up from 2008, when less than 1/3 of these slots were filled. So take a look at these two precincts. Which one has a better chance of getting as many Republicans out to vote as possible? And knowing that in primary elections, turnout averages are about 20 to 25%. So if you can bump that up, you can have the conservative win the primary election every time. So which one of these looks like it would have a better chance, have more manpower to get out the vote. One with just a single precinct committeeman or that same precinct slot. In this, look at this case, and there are precincts like this in Arizona with all of its precinct committeeman slots filled up. So what prevents you from getting involved in party politics? The bottom line is it's only you. You know, this is basic American civics in action. It's not rocket science. And the party establishment won't tell you about this. You've got to figure this out on your own or have somebody like me tell you. Incumbent conservatives even won't tell you about this because they fear you might do this and then support a more conservative challenger in the next all-important, traditionally very low turnout primary election. They don't want to change the status quo. It's not in their self-interest. And I don't blame them. It's up to us to do this. So the bottom line, the reason the Republican Party is not conservative enough for some complaining conservatives is because not enough of these same complaining conservatives are inside the party as precinct committeemen. So here's some questions to ask yourself. Do you know your precinct's name? If you've got a voter ID card, it's probably on it. Do you know your precinct's boundaries? Ever looked up the map? They're probably online. Do you know any Republicans in your precinct? Do you know your precinct committeemen, if there are any? And there may not be any. Have you ever been to your monthly Republican Party local committee meeting? That's where you need to go. So what won't win the elections? We've found that obviously Twittering and Facebooking and all the social media are not going to get additional Republicans and conservatives to the polls because it's just preaching to the conservative choir day after day. That's not going to get more conservatives to the polls. The best way to increase voter turnout is by a personal contact with the low information, low propensity voters. I call them VINOs, voters in name only. Precinct committeemen gain access to Get Out the Vote software to help them efficiently contact these low information, low propensity voters. And about 35% of them are of the Republicans and conservative voters fall into this category. And this works. It's just common sense. With a little coordination and organization, the PCs in my precinct doubled Republican turnout in a mayoral race with just 3 to 4 hours of targeted get out the vote phone calls and literature drops. We worked together, we divided up the precinct, and we kept track of our time. We called these low propensity voters, we dropped off sample ballots to them, and we doubled turnout in the election. And it gets easier every time you do it. So will you just sit on the sidelines, or will you do more than just tweet and complain? Or will you take real political action and unite and organize where you live inside the Republican Party at your local party committee meetings? So how do you find your local committee? Well, you can do it the old-fashioned way. Call your county Republican committee chairman or call your state Republican committee chairman and then doggedly follow up because they're staffed by volunteers and they may not call you back. So if you don't hear from them in 12 hours, call them back and keep calling. Another way is to search the web. Most of the local committees now have web pages, and you can search that way. Do whatever it takes. You're a resourceful American, aren't you? And your liberty's at stake, so do whatever it takes. But find your local committee, find out where it meets, go there, and tell them that you want to become a voting member of the party. Whatever it's called in your state. It's not called precinct committeeman in every state. And then you'll need to become familiar with the following rules. The rules of the Republican Party, of the National Party, that's on the council's page of GOP.com. Your state committee rules and bylaws, your county bylaws, your local committee bylaws. Now, here's a nice thing. Most state committees have created a precinct committeeman handbook, and they outline this stuff. And none of this is hard. It really isn't. And so here are some more resources. And you can go to theprecinctproject.wordpress.com. That's a little blog I created. If I can find something on the internet about a particular state and how it works there, I have a link to it. I've got at least something for every state. Precinctproject.us, same concept. I helped American Majority Action put that together. Some other people help me do that as well. UnifiedPatriots.com, that's a political blog. There's a section called PC Activism. There's a lot of good how-to articles there. ConcordProject.org is a get out the vote centered project. It has tutorial videos on how to get out the vote, what a precinct is, how to become a precinct committeeman, all of that. You should check out ourvotes.com. Ourvotes is the best, I think, get out the vote and campaign software. Go to that page, watch all the tutorials, and then know this. This was offered to the RNC and to the Romney campaign, and they decided not to use it. And last but not least, if you want to email me, there's my email address, coldwarrior1978 @gmail.com, and that's it. So I hope you'll consider getting involved. This is the answer. It works. It's just common sense. It's just good old-fashioned basic American civics in action, and we need to do this for our kids and grandkids, don't you think? Thanks.